and that was my only option. I didn't have any other option. I couldn't drive.
Right.
I was only allowed there. When I asked for transportation to do my shopping and stuff, I was told my children weren't allowed in the car, my wife wasn't allowed in the cabs, that someone at Superstore would help me shop, you know, in 2 full cabs. This is my adjudicator, fully knowing my injury. Chris Winkler, a very lovely man.
Chris Winkler and
I had him screaming at me on the phone, charging me with fraud, you know, because I stopped in to get a lawyer because my rights were not being taken care of. And it was no extra money out of the cab. It was between the grocery store and physio. No extra money, no nothing, no extra time. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over here.
Go back to physiotherapy with Darcy. That's a good start for one.
I blocked a lot of that out.
So you were still in your cast? Both arms?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe when I started, I was it was the 3rd cast change down to the half ones.
Right.
2nd or 3rd. I blocked a lot of that. It was a lot of pain. I was in a flexor tension brace, and like I tried really hard. Like you're only supposed to wear them at 2 or 3. I had it on 10 for 10 hours a day. Like my arm would not straighten anymore. I don't believe they put me back together right. It was so long from my injury surgery. So when my radius had snapped off, I know it twisted. I could feel it just move right.
Right.
I think I'll have to let you take over for a bit here.
So, I'm sure that you've read Darcy's...
If you want to walk around, you know, just go ahead.
The walk down here really killed my back.
That you guys read Darcy's report, November 16th, 05, to Chris Winkler. In there, it does state that it says that it was my impression from these findings that Lauren's injuries had not fully recovered at the time since his last visit, July of 05, and that he possibly would have re-aggravated the injury as well, setting back slightly in his range of motion as seen on the assessment. It is my opinion that Lauren needed further medical treatment at the time when he left my office in July of 05 and would possibly still be receiving treatment for such injuries if the most recent injury to his forearms hadn't occurred. What I'd like to address, though, is the issue that went back and forth between when Lauren originally fractured his arms and getting treatment for his back. Lauren ran into quite the little catch-22 where they would only allow physiotherapy for his arms but refuse physiotherapy for his back and then wouldn't treat one or the other. Darcy and all of them from Rehab in Motion felt like they were beating their head against a brick wall, if I will use the term. And that's a huge issue for Lauren. That was a very trying time. That was very hard. That was more than evident that it did, that there was an issue going on with the back that maybe somebody didn't want to address.
May I just have a report?
Certainly not.
Make sure I've got it. You were at the Clayton Comas clinic at that time,
For physio?
Yeah.
No, I was in Willow Point.
Willow Point, yeah, it's right up at the left-hand corner.
Their main office is in Cortland. I started my physio in Willow Point. From there I went to Nanaimo ORT.
Okay. Do you guys mind if I get a cup of coffee?
No, feel free.
It's freezing in here.
Yes, it's been quite the weird weather up here.
No, thank you, ma'am.
We haven't had this much snow ever. I've been coming up here since 75 fishing. Never ever seen this much snow still.
We've seen it everywhere. Not really weathered ourselves.
So with the issue with the back, ma'am, like Lauren had said, he originally had gone for x-rays, a bone scan and x-ray of the back. It was confirmed that there was compression fractures of the T8, 11, and 12, but as Lauren said, and it's more than evident in his claim file, and it even does state that it was in fact changed by an anonymous medical advisor. So I guess one of the issues on the table should be today is that claim needs to be reopened. It needs to get readdressed, and he needs to be pensioned
Never even
for
got looked at after my fall. I've been complaining about it since. Like I did something else to it. The first X-ray I had on it was just November, I think it was.
Lauren, though, however, I'm not too sure if you guys have it with you today. Dr. Bell did send Lauren for another X-ray, bone scan, and so on October 30th. I have, no, this is this year, ma'am.
That's the first time I've had an X-ray.
We got those results back on November 3rd.
We don't have that report.
So there you are. It's, of course, just confirming that the T8, 9, and 11, or T8, 11, and 12 are still there, although not showing any more deformity than when he had the X-ray done August or whatever it was of 06 there. As well as you'll see with the bone scan for his arms, that's also an issue that we'll need to address today.
Okay, well, good. The way WorkSafe works and how our law and policy is written is that if you've had an appeal on an issue, it is usually, well, it is by law binding, and we have no recourse to revisit decisions that have been determined by these appellate bodies. For medical issues, however, when there's changes in conditions, there's a little bit of an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Because if there's new medical evidence that comes up,
Well,
you
that's
can
where
look
the-
at it as a new issue.
Well, that's where the problem comes into play. I mean,
So-
they've been telling my doctors for my diagnosis of CRPS I have to show all 10 symptoms. In your legislation it says 3, I show 5.
Yeah.
You know, and it's...
And first of all, we're not doctors,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
you know, we deal a lot with medical information. Kind of like you guys, you get to be little mini experts just because you look at it all
Over the last couple of years, we've kind of had to learn.
Yeah, and so a lot of what I'd like to make sure that we do too is I don't want to set unrealistic expectations for what we can do, but, you know, we're certainly willing to take a list of everything that needs to be looked at, and then we'll get clarification on the medical issues, and so this is good so far. That's certainly one issue, and that's your back.
Yes.
You've got new evidence. Can we keep that, or can we go get a photocopy?
You can get a
We actually
photocopy.
have asked we have had a conversation with Dr. Bell.
Yes.
One of our senior medical advisors, as part of the team, has had a look at your claim, and we did suggest that he contact Dr. Bell. I have had a couple of conversations.
Yes.
And has requested that any new medical information that she has that we don't have, that she supplies with the claim. Unfortunately, through the things that happen from time to time, Dr. Bell has not been submitting medical information to your claim file, either one of them.
No, because they've refused them, actually. They've actually adamantly refused. They refused to accept the reports. I can have her here and say it. Like, she's told me that.
We have had that conversation with her and have assured her that we would happily like to receive
that's why I haven't
reports
seen
that she has
any
since
specialist
that
or
time.
anything, because it's all coming out of my pocket. It's been coming out of my pocket since 6 weeks after my injury, except for, you know, the little bits of food and stuff that has been paid for.
So let me just
Sorry.
no, don't be sorry. But let me tell you how the system works in terms of bill payment.
Yes.
When you have an active claim with WCB or an inactive claim with WorkSafe, when a physician enters a report for a claim, the obligation is on the board to pay them for the report that they send in. Sometimes we will pay additional fees for that in a fee structure that is negotiated with the BCMA.
Yes.
What Dr. Bell did is she didn't receive payment for the claim because the claim reports were submitted under the back claim, and the information was related to your arm claim. So between the two claims information, the billings were refused. So we've clarified that with her, that we will accept all the billings on information that is submitted. We have requested from her that she send all the billing information into your arm claim because it is a significant claim too.
Yeah.
So we have requested that she provide that information. We can copy and move information from file to file, but we didn't want to have that happen to you or to her again.
Yes.
Part of the reason that we aren't in a position to look at other things a second time or have new information to consider, if we don't have the information, we can't consider it.
Yeah, you can't consider
and
it.
as my colleague has said, we're an inquiry-based model. If we receive information, the obligation is on us to inquire.